welcome to the Weekend Roundup. My name is Dean Blundell, deanblundell.substack.com. Every single Monday, my very dear friend, American hero, award-winning whistleblower, former Trump associate, and Giuliani associate. We got a little bit of Giuliani news to get to today, too, where we kind of break down what happened this weekend and, more importantly, kind of what didn't happen over the past 4 or 5 days with a disappearing Donald Trump. We've got Ukraine rising with deep strikes into Russia, crippling the fuel economy in the land of orcs and barbarians. And we're also going to talk about distractions, and we're going to talk a little bit of Washington, D.C. today. But as always, please welcome to the program and give this man a follow as we continue to build the resistance. Pillar Award-winning whistleblower, American hero, and my very good friend and the author of Shadow Diplomacy. Please welcome Mr. Lev Parnas. You get the golf clap today, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Thank you. I'm excited. Oh, my brother, I appreciate everything. I mean, everything you do. You, Zev, you go on your Live at 5 Substack is incredible. I always jump on to watch it. And the way you break it down and you give it to people, I think we need more people like you, like my son Aaron, that has these different, unique ways of bringing the news, not that old-fashioned way where it's just, first of all, doesn't work anymore. Second of all, they don't really bring the news. There is no more independent. Journalism. It's only independent journalism. Sorry. So, yeah, it's been a crazy weekend, crazy week. I hope everybody enjoyed their Labor Day to as much as you could with all the craziness going on. I know everybody also has. I see the messages, a lot of fear, and I hear you. I hear you. I'm with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We should be worried. We should be scared. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. Just think about everything that Dean said right now, and the one thing he didn't even mention to make, and probably one of the most craziest things that's going on right now. That might be one of the most scariest things that we're not even realizing, but what we are seeing play out right now in China. Whoa. Let me just tell you, folks.
With the
Whoa.
Dictators Parade, the Dictators Conference?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And my sources are telling me this is not no joke. I mean, you got some alliances coming in, and it's being played out by two very, very, very. I don't want to give them credit by calling a dictator smart, but they're smart. Yeah, I'm going to give them. Just because they're smart doesn't mean that they're good or bad. But Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping is very, very smart. I mean, these are two, leaders and two people that know the region extremely well. Two people that have lived the history of both countries extremely well. Two people that have been able to, have been working their own ideologies for their own countries for many, many years through many different administrations that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So these are two individuals that have worked through many of our administrations, many administrations that have gone back and forth in Europe, all over the world. And these, like Putin himself has been in power for what, like almost 30 years,
Yeah,
25,
28 years.
26 years,
Yeah.
28 years. So you got to understand, Chi, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know what the numbers on him is, but you're talking about these are like, that's why they're called dictators. That's why it's authoritarian, because they rule with an iron fist. And,
And they don't go anywhere. They stick around forever, right? They figure that out. Yeah.
And this is the most important part, the scary part, which why I want to just mention is they stick around waiting for this particular time to find that spot where the world is weakened, where you get some crazy nut that gets into power. They could never imagine it could be in the United States. See, like we've had different kind of craziness happen, and all over the world in different countries where it spiked and made different, alliances and changed. But the one thing that was always status quo, one thing that you could always, it's like T-bond, but buy bonds, back in the day, treasury bonds, that was the most securest thing. The United States. It didn't matter if it was going to be Republicans, Democrats. It didn't matter who's in power, but because of our three-tier way, rule of being able to have the guardrails, that America would never, go far left, far right. It would always be there to moderate the world. And now what they've got, they've gotten such a win, not only first of all, in 2016. But in 2016, it was, still not something that it was something that it was like, one of those pop-up hurricanes that happened. You know what I mean? Nobody expected it, and there were still guardrails in place. So even though, he sent me to Ukraine to pressure Zelensky, even though he did all that crazy stuff, you still had, the
Guardrails
different.
prevented the worst of the worst of that,
Right,
right?
you
Yeah,
still
yeah,
had,
yeah.
right, you had the impeachments,
Yep.
you still had, different chiefs of staffs that would go and come, the Mathises, the generals, you know what I'm saying? You had people that would stand up and he would fire him, and even though you had chaos and you had, the headlines, well, the one thing we didn't have is actual authoritarianism. We didn't have actual dictatorship. So yes, he flirted with it, but because of the guardrails, we didn't have it. And now, it's a totally different ballgame because now we don't have any of those guardrails, and
Mm.
today we have the Congress coming back in office, and I mean, to a real interesting situation that we have going on in the world because not only what's happening overseas, because just think about, how important this is. You have not only do you have Vladimir Putin and Xi together, and if you guys read my Substack letters or Dean's, or if you go do a little research and just take a look, these are not friends. These are not people that buddy buddies. And if you take a look at what's happening, the way they're hugging, the way
Holding
they're
hands.
smiling, holding
Yeah.
hands,
Yeah.
smiling, laughing. I mean, to the fact that the Indian Modi just a year ago, if you remember, whatever, 2 years ago, he was in Houston with Donald Trump with 50,000 people holding, hugging, like, we were ba India. And now you have Modi going to China, which, I mean, they were at war almost 5 years ago. I mean, over the border. They were at war. They were
Historically,
fighting.
they fucking hate
Historically,
each other. Yeah, they
hate
were at
each
war.
other,
Yeah.
hate each other, hate each other. And basically going over there, one of the things that I broke in my Substack was that it's not only about the Trump. See, just think about it. Trump punished India, then punished Russia. Originally, the tariffs were supposed to punish Russia. That's why I want to make sure I take you guys back a little bit because there's so much craziness going back, and we'll get back to the other subjects. But if
Yeah,
you
this
take a look at
context is important for sure. Yeah.
yeah, well, if you take a look at what happened with India,
Mm.
And China were two of the biggest oil buyers that buy oil from Russia. So when Trump had that, theatrical where he came in and said he's going to punish Russia with sanctions, and he put that deadline on them, 10 days in the middle of that 50-day
Which
old
was it
thing.
the 10 or the 2 weeks or the 2 weeks or the 2 weeks or the 2 weeks or the
It
90 days
was
or the 2 weeks?
if you, it was what's on third, and it was at home plate,
It's on
but
second.
yeah.
I'm on first. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. Yeah.
So during that 10 days, when he was supposed to sanction them,
Yeah.
remember Lindsey Graham, Senate had that whole bill in there to 500% sanctions on
Yeah.
anybody to cripple Russia's again.
Had
And
the
Trump came,
votes.
they had the votes passed through, and Trump came out and had that whole conference. I remember like it was yesterday. He sat down and said, "It's up to me. The Senate's going to give it to me, but I could do what I want. And you know what? 500 maybe too much, but I'm going to do 100%." You know what I'm saying to you? I'm going to do China. And he did it specifically to China and to India. He mentioned it
Yep.
because he was negotiating the tariffs at the time.
Yep.
So it was never about, and I wrote about it, it was never about, peace. It was never about sanctioning Russia. It was always about using that as a negotiation tool with India and China because those were the only two he could negotiate the tariffs with.
Sure. Yeah.
Those were two big economies he needed to negotiate the tariffs with. And those were the two that are the biggest oil buyers. So it was a perfect fit and perfect cover for him to try to do that. But it backfired. It
Yeah.
backfired big time because he's using that bully pulpit, and that's why they got together right now. That's one of the reasons, one of the things my source telling me, one of the things that was discussed at some of these private conversations is about how Trump is that wannabe dictator, that wannabe bully, that wannabe strongman, but he doesn't know who he's dealing because these guys are actual bullies,
They're
actual
OGs.
strongmen.
They're
Yeah, right.
dictator OGs.
Exactly. It's like they're watching him come in there, and they're like, "Oh my God, like this, you couldn't, it's like you couldn't make this up. You couldn't ask for a better scenario that is being played out." And the crazy part is because and not only, and I'm sorry, not only that, but also mention who else just drove in his bulletproof, not plane, but bulletproof train, not plane train. Kim Jong Un. So
Yeah.
you got Trump's Bud, love letter Bud,
Yeah,
that
his little
that
pal. I
his
love him. We
pal,
fell in love.
Little Rocket Man, you know what I'm saying to you, that whole thing. And you have Rocket Man now also in China. So now just
Yeah.
think about this. Think about you got some of the most powerful nuclear countries in the world. You got now China, you got Russia, you have India, you have North Korea. And you know who else you have over there that nobody's talking about? Turkey,
Yeah.
Erdogan.
Erdogan.
That's another Erdogan.
Orban
That's another.
sent a dude to China as well to this summit as well. His finance minister
Yeah.
was actually
I
there.
I
Yeah.
mean, exactly. So you got a consolidation of some very serious things happening, and the things that nobody's talking about here in the United States. The media, I'm actually going to write a Substack letter about later on because of what I'm hearing from my sources overseas. That after Europe is preparing for major invasion. I mean, I know you guys are going to say that I'm an alarmist, but so far everything I told you has happened, and I'm not telling you this because I want to be right. I'm telling you
Dude,
this
you've
because you
been
need to be.
100 about
You,
everything, including today's press conference that he's holding at 2 o'clock to distract everybody from tomorrow's Epstein victims press
Epstein,
conference. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
And what I'm hearing between me and you, let's see if this one, my sources are telling me this and nothing. It's going to be mostly they're going to rename today the State Department from the Department of State to Department of War.
Hmm.
That's going to be the big. Okay, so that's not 100%, but this is what I'm hearing. I didn't verify, I didn't write about it, but I'm hearing that it's not. Again, it's nothing major. He's going to go into India. He's going to attack India today, and it's interesting. Watch how he attacks India and Modi, but he doesn't attack Russia
Mm,
because and this is the just think about it, because the original sanctions are supposed to hurt Russia, not India. Because we
hmm.
supposed to India is supposed to be our friend. We're supposed to try and negotiate this. You're not trying to, but it's coming out. The truth you're seeing come out, and then simultaneously, what is Russia doing? You have Putin coming out there on the world stage now, out in the open, coming out saying we never promised to meet with Zelensky, just like I told you.
Yeah.
We're never going to meet with Zelensky. We're going to wipe him out. We're
He
going
called that
to
a month
war.
ago. Yeah, yeah.
And not only that, but now they're preparing another incursion right now on these, and they're continuously bombing Russia. And where you see Trump. Meanwhile, we don't have Trump for a week. That's another thing. That's
Yeah.
another thing. That's a big one. And I'm going to tell you this, folks.
Yeah, where
So,
is he? Take us inside because not only do we not see him for a week,
yeah.
because what we're talking about here isn't just a vacuum, but the disappearance of Trump and Trump's America, not just from the world scene. Dictators get together, the vacuum starts to collapse, they start to fill that void. And for a guy that loves the fucking news cycle, you and I talked about it last week at length. Let Parnas, everybody go and subscribe to him right now. Don't walk, run, subscribe, paid subs, Q&As. He does paid Q&As. They're incredible. He's one of the greats. He's number one, two, or three in world politics. He always tells the truth. He's always blowing the whistle. But take me behind the scenes because a lack of Trump isn't necessarily a good thing or a good sign. We've got J.D. Vance lining up behind him for the internal coup. He hasn't been around for the past 4 or 5 days. Rumors of strokes and really serious health issues. So, what are you hearing from your sources involved in the know, if you will?
Yeah, no, and this is great, a great question, and I'm going to answer you this way. So, I'm not hearing anything, and that's the scary part. Like this is what's going on with Trump's health is definitely something bad because I'm not hearing anything because a majority of everybody around it's a tight it's the circle of who knows what's going on with him is extremely small. I'm
Mhm.
talking about so small where you like Marco Rubio might not know, like Pete Hegseth might not know. I'm talking about people like, Susie Wiles, Stephen Miller, like those type of individuals like that type of where you're looking
Chief of
because
staff, family, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not even family. I'll tell you, so it's definitely because I'm not hearing anything because we're not really getting any leaking information. That gives me a different sign. That tells me that something is definitely wrong. The other thing is obviously, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist for him. We haven't seen him for a week, folks. A
Mhm.
week. Yes, he's coming out today. That's because some of the things that I did hear from, but this is speculation. This is not actual confirmation, is that he was going through certain procedures. Now, I don't know if it's a procedure because of, stroke, heart procedure, but definitely That is why we haven't seen them. What's it called? As far as JD Vance, you're 100% right. You see the techno bros and JD Vance very quiet. You don't hear Elon Musk, bro, and they're just waiting, praying, hoping to jump in and hoping that happens. So there's a lot going on actually, and it's going to be interesting to see what he looks like today at 2 o'clock because that's going to be also a telltale. But the fact that wasn't around for exactly a week, especially
Huge.
while this conference was going on, and you've seen all these media coming out with the China meetings, and it's going to be interesting. And again, the other interesting part that was a very suspicious to me, I would say, is the way certain social media outlets try to push his sightings, which started reporting pictures, old pictures, and where that they even screwed themselves up. You know what I'm saying to you by trying
Yeah,
to
I
put
mean
that.
it's not hard to be able to suss a picture. And to your point, over the past weekend, to give people a little bit of context,
Yeah, go.
Donald Trump was incommunicado. He was nowhere. Just pictures of him with a very swollen brow, very swollen face, very ashen looking, hat pulled down over his head, walking into the beast from the White House residence. His mouth was agape, like his mouth was like this the whole time, like he had just recently had a stroke and was seen walking very slowly. Now, again, no confirmation as to what it is, but to your point, that the fact that he was unwell enough to be the best version of his distracting self tells the biggest story. A guy that has to own the news cycle, a guy who likes to get in front of shit, a dude who has tomorrow, and I want to get into this with you, 10 victims of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and possibly Donald Trump that are going to be brought into a press conference with Rep. Mo Khanna and Thomas Massey and a group of bipartisan congressmen and women to tell their story about the abuses they suffered at the hands of the people that abused them involved in the Epstein child trafficking pedophile ring. So, if I add all those things up, and the fact that he was persona non grata this weekend, and you add in all of what we've just finished kind of sussing out, and you did so beautifully, of the dictator power vacuum that's developing in China. Not a word from the White House about it. Really slow on memes this weekend, and
Well,
then posting
that's a
old. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, that's a big point you're making right there, and I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
please.
the fact it's not only the fact, and that's why I want everybody to really understand that there is something serious going on. Because again, not knowing exactly what it is, I'm not, and so I don't want to diagnose him with anything. But the fact that he was not even tweeting, and some of his social media posts that did come out, if you take a look at him, one especially looked like Stephen Miller wrote it. That it
Yeah.
wasn't even him writing it. And then
Yeah,
there was
weird
so
tweets. Like there was one night he just tweeted out "Good night."
right. I mean, there was just it was just and the whole week for you guys to understand something, a week in Trump world of not controlling the news cycle, not being out there, not what's it called, is
Doesn't
unheard of.
happen. Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
happen. Yeah, so definitely something going on. Definitely, and it definitely has to do with his health because just from the fact that everybody's gone dark, and and that's one of the things. I mean, we're getting leaks on so much different things, but that's one of the things where I mean, it's been tight fit, and that gives me saying that it's worse than even we think because if it wasn't this bad. You wouldn't see any of these in what with Trump. Don't believe the coincidences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't listen to the hype. Watch as I say, don't listen to what they tell you. Watch their actions. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying to you? So
mm,
yeah, yeah.
mm.
Trump text is puts social media. Just think about this. Trump puts out a truth social. I'm in the best health of my life. I'm feeling great. Right? If that was the case, Donald Trump would come out and do a press conference. Donald
Mhm.
Trump would come out and do a Oval Office. Donald Trump would come out, and the last time we seen Donald Trump, and if you take a look at Donald Trump, the way we seen him when the last time it was at that Dictators round table of it was exactly a week ago Tuesday when he held his cabinet meeting.
Mhm.
where you had them all sitting there and praising him
Dear
instead of
leader, it was the
yeah,
sickest, dude. It was the most egregious I've ever heard in my life. Witkoff was like, nobody deserves the Nobel Peace Prize more than you do, sir. His labor secretary is like, none of this would be hot. Labor Day wouldn't even exist without a president like you. You're the greatest.
and you want to laugh about, I mean, you want to hear something even crazier
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
talk about Nobel Peace Prize. So
Yeah.
one of the things that really broke was the straw, what my sources are telling me, the straw that broke the camel's back between the relationship between Modi and Trump was
Mhm.
the Nobel Peace Prize. So folks, this was, not only was there extensive negotiating going back and forth with the tariffs, and Trump was really being aggressive with India and pushing them. But then came a moment, what I'm hearing is Trump literally told Modi he wants Modi to write a letter to the Nobel Peace Committee saying that he deserves a note because of he stopped the conflict between India and Pakistan. And Modi basically told him, "No, you didn't. You're an idiot. You did." I mean, he didn't call him an idiot. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, "You didn't stop the war. I'm not going to write the letter." And word for word, Trump. So I mean, and that was like their last call. And after that is when you saw Trump come out and say, "Oh, I'm going. India is not buying. You know, we're going to go after India for buying oil from."
50%.
And that's why Modi said this, because this is a lot of
Because
personal
he
shit.
wouldn't write a letter of reference for a Nobel
Yeah.
Peace Prize. So
Yeah, this well, you gotta understand when you're dealing with such chips on the
Eddie.
when you're dealing with dictators and chips
Yeah,
on their shoulder. I mean, for a guy like Modi, you know, to be pressure, you know, it's one thing when they're talking about tariffs, economy, and they have to be diplomatic.
sure.
Another thing when another leader tries to, like, extort you, or just like it's what he did to Zelensky. It's like, listen, I need you to write a letter for me, and Modi's like, but you didn't stop the war. You're walking around telling that's not why we stopped it. It stopped because of this, and that. And he's like, no, man, I stopped your war, and you're going to write the letter. So, 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 and that is one, and as crazy as it sounds, but you'll hear about it eventually. I mean, the media is going to write about it. It's going to break, but that is one of the reasons why you're seeing such tension. Just think about how crazy it is. We're seeing such tension between a country, India, that we were friends with, that we have no issues, that we were thriving, everything is great, and now because of Trump's, just
Headiness.
obsession,
Yeah,
obsession. It's already an obsession,
yeah.
to with this Nobel Peace Prize. And that's why you see, I mean, to have with Witkoff, all of them sitting there talking about how, I mean, just think about Netanyahu. Think about the chain of events that have been going on the past few months, and it's everything. And if you take a look at my Substack letters, I told you, from attacking Iran in his brain, attacking Iran was a way to get the Nobel Peace Prize because he stopped the war, and
Because he didn't
in
go
his
all the
mind,
way. Yeah.
right? Because right, in his mind, it's like he stopped, and and even the crazy part is that, who else was yesterday at this meeting, and what I'm hearing behind the scenes is completely, which it's a different time. I'm getting some more information, and we could do maybe by next week. Is his two pals from Azerbaijan and from Armenia.
Armenia? Yeah.
They were at this
Oh, they showed up to the
dictator.
dictator parade? Did
They were
they?
at
And
yeah, the parade's tomorrow. And this is the other thing. This is the
yeah,
other thing. Well,
I know where you're going.
this is so hilarious, but this is what I'm hearing, that some of the conversation that was discussed about yesterday between Putin and Xi is, wait till Trump sees what a real parade looks like. Just think about that. Think about the shit that's being said between dictators. Like they were like laughing. Like tomorrow, a part of it
We're going to
is,
show him what a real military parade looks like,
well,
not that
and
fucking stupid birthday parade that Trump threw for himself. They must look at him like he's the junior dictator guy in the dictator club. They must look at him like, dude, you are so useless to us. Everything that you try to do to be like us, you never do it. You're not even close to being as cool a dictator. And you know what the fucked up part, Lev? I defer to you. It must drive him crazy. Like it,
that,
this
that's it.
this kind of shit, it like watching a real military parade, not a bunch of beleaguered National Guardsmen and Marines walk out of lockstep because they can't stand the fucking felon rapist in chief that is currently running the United States. But you're going to get real equipment. You're going to get Tiananmen Square. And listen, these are dictators. I'm not excited for this dictator military parade at all. But what I'm saying is that in his warped mind, he must be incredibly jealous of what is probably going to take place in China tomorrow.
Oh, well, big time. And not only that, but just think about, I'm going to give you a little story. One of the reasons, I don't know if you guys know, but one of the reasons Trump has this like really hate towards Europe and like, wants to constantly give it to them is because of Davos. Davos is this conference that they have once a year where they invite all the very wealthiest people in the world, and they have
Mhm.
this, it's like a financial. Trump was never invited. He was this so many times, and
Are you
he was
talking about the
always
World Economic Forum? Is that what you're
yeah,
talking about? Yeah,
Davos.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. So Trump was never invited. So Trump because of that. Same thing here. He wasn't invited yesterday to the meeting, and so I'm just gonna tell you this. I'm just really curious to see how today he's supposed to come out at 2 o'clock, have his this thing, and I'm just really excited to see first of all
What kind of
what
conditions
condition.
are you in? Yeah.
What kind of condition, how he's going to talk. I'm going to watch carefully, but also like how he's going to attack. He's going to go after Modi for he's going to stay away from Putin and Xi. It's going to be interesting to see how he like because after watching the way they're hugging, I mean kissing, holding hands, talking about new world order.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying to you? All these things, and
Huddling, smiling, laughing together. There's so many great pictures. And I think what people don't understand is the lengths that Donald Trump to go to satisfy his ego. What he effectively did is he just told India to go and join the rest of the world's dictators in because that's what India does. That's what they did. What they did was they tried to do business with Trump. He wouldn't get his letter of reference for the Nobel Peace Prize. And so he hit him with tariffs. And you know what Modi did? He got on a plane and he went to China. And he's like, who wants to do business with one of the world's biggest, fastest growing economies? And everybody's like, we will. And you know what else they did is they buried all the fucking historical hatchets. Like,
that's the crazy
China,
part.
China
Yeah.
and India have been at war, and they're like, we've settled our differences. We're going to work together as one country of people
Thank you.
who, yeah, and it's that's exactly, that is the Trump butterfly effect to your incredible point yet again.
Thank you, Donald Trump, for aligning our enemies and making even our friends become enemies. And just think about. I mean, I'm hearing that literally, Europe is preparing. They're already telling their hospitals to prepare for actual war, guys. I mean, this as sick as it sounds. I mean, to sit there and watch Chi, one of the biggest dictators in the world, talk about how that whole group of dictators sitting there, because everybody at that table there was, except for Modi, I think at the time is not an official dictator, but was dictators sitting there talking about how they are the group of anti-bullying. I mean, I
We're the good
mean,
guys, I swear.
like they're sitting there talking about they're anti-bullying because Donald Trump is the biggest bully. Like he's bullying everybody, and that's that whole thing. That's why they're telling Modi, "Come on in. We'll take you in." We took India in. Any other country that is upset by Donald Trump that's gonna push you, bully you, threaten you, come on in because look,
Water's
we're
fine,
good.
nice and
The water.
warm in the dictator hot tub, guys. Let's all get together and hang out. And dude, you are 100% correct. Like the Trump butterfly effect is as real as it's ever been. If you haven't seen it, watch some clips from this weekend of three of the worst offenders when it comes to crimes against humanity over the past generation getting together, laughing it up, high-fiving Kim Jong-un, high-fiving and holding hands, Modi, Putin, Xi, Orban's guy, the dude from Armenia, the guy from Azerbaijan. They're like, any and all takers, guys. We just know we have an idiot in the White House, and he's destroying the United States of America, and he is so interested in himself, and that made him the perfect mark for the KGB FSB. That still makes him the perfect mark. I wrote a piece about it this weekend. And before we get to the Epstein stuff, we got about 10 minutes left. Before we get to the Epstein stuff, it is, and you say it all the time. Don't believe the rhetoric. Believe your eyes and ears, and don't get distracted by what's going on. When you mention that the EU are telling their hospitals and putting dragon's teeth in Poland and Lithuania to protect their borders, fences up 800 miles of it in Finland, are you saying that Russia plans on invading, or are you saying that this alliance of Axis assholes also plans on sweeping across Europe?
Well, you gotta understand, part of the Axis is already together. So, I mean, you got North Korean troops fighting full force in Russia. You got thousands of North Korean troops. You got North Korean ammunition going back and forth. So they already have the alliance. That's part of it.
Chinese gear and Chinese
China,
personnel. Yeah.
exactly. You have Chinese gear, Chinese personnel already helping Russia. You
Yeah.
have Iran's, what's it called?
Shahid drones.
Shahid drones going in. So, I mean, they already have the access. I mean, and you have Modi, you have India buying oil from Russia, which is funding the war. So, you know what I'm saying to you? So, what you basically have done, though, what Trump has done is if this was all maybe taking place and Russia couldn't fully do it, now they're doing in the open. Now they're going to the extremes. I'll give you another thing they're not talking about, which tell you guys first, that in this, my sources tell me that part of this conversations that they had and the deal that China struck with Russia is now they're going to build the pipeline through Mongolia, through Russia to China, and for Russia to sell gas to China directly. How you doing? How you like that one? Through Mongolia. So, that's and because this is what it's all about. Remember,
Energy.
Russia,
Yeah.
exactly. What did what's his name? McCain call him. He said Russia is a gas station. That's what it basically is. They have oil, they have gas, they have mineral resource, and that's what makes them so powerful because they could control lots of different countries and give that source of. And that's why the other part, you have the gas pipeline now being worked on with China. Even though I know people, all the pundits and the professionals are talking about, oh, Trump is the one that killed the Nord Stream 2. I'm promising you that part of the conversations that Russia, the Kremlin, Dmitriev is having with Witkoff and Trump is Nord Stream 2 and to reestablish it because now if Russia controls Nord Stream 2, they control part and with America in the middle, now they control European energy.
Mm.
And do you understand?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, with America getting a piece if they
exactly.
yeah, absolutely.
See,
Yeah.
see, Nord Stream 2 doesn't work with America against Russia. With America standing with, yes, that's why we destroyed Nord Stream 2, because not to give Russia the upper hand. But if all of a sudden America's partners with Russia, on Nord Stream 2, and this is what's being sold. So, um, I could tell you this much. I mean, the one thing this week there's a lot going on. Tomorrow, huge day. I know you Zev are going to be covering it. I'm going to be with you guys, plus also separately. We're going to be covering all day long, making sure all the victims and all the survivors. I know tomorrow there's going to be some new survivors and victims out there that we've never heard from. Hopefully, you never know what could come out of it. Maybe we'll hear some new names, some new direction of where to lead us. But very, very, you know,
It's a huge day. Tomorrow, you're talking
huge
about the
day.
September
Yeah,
3rd Epstein victims presser. Yeah,
yeah,
you've
yeah.
got the number now is climbed to about 15, 16, to your point. Confirmed that we know two of them. I put a piece out about it today that the victims will finally get a chance to address the horrific abuses that were visited upon them via Ghislaine Maxwell, who's currently, I believe, in some kind of Pilates class in Club Fed,
Yeah.
and Jeffrey Epstein, and who knows, Donald Trump, and we might hear other names. They're going to give their account of what happened to them, and I would love to know before we go. And everybody, please go and subscribe to Lev immediately. He is
And Zev, and
and
Zev.
Zev, all the Evs, Zev, Lev. But go and subscribe to him immediately. We're building a community. We're building a resistance. These friendships are really important to us because we get a chance to amplify the voice of a man who's doing some incredible source work, trying to get that information out. But is there panic in the White House ahead of tomorrow's Epstein press conference with several, if not dozens, of his victims? Is there, what are you hearing about the way that Trump is dealing with this or his team is dealing with this? And do you know anything ahead of time of what we might be able to expect?
Well, what I'm hearing is there's major, not only what's it called, nervousness at the White House with tomorrow's presser, but also because Congress is coming back. One of Johnson's game plan was to try to, during this time, silence the whole Epstein, rewrite it. That's one of the reasons their plan, which backfired, but was to release these tapes of Maxwell, and they thought that they would give enough juice, basically, because they tried to kill the situation and form it in a way that instead of igniting it and giving it more juice by putting people's names, having her go in there and talk about, let's say, Clinton, and give it more light, they used it and tried to just to kill the story by coming out and saying that Trump did nothing wrong. Because if you take a look at the very first day, I mean, basically there's about 23 questions from a Blanche. They just go into literally about Donald Trump and, if he wrote the letter, if he did something wrong, if she ever seen him do something, speak violently. I mean, it was just like,
Fluff,
basically,
bullshit. Yeah.
well, it's like Donald Trump's attorney sitting there and trying to basically validate and clean his client up. That was day one.
And
Day two
you've
was,
been involved in those kinds of hearings, right? And to the
oh yeah,
point where they like challenge you, they tell you not to lie. That's another 5 years.
oh yeah.
What you heard was pure fantasy, right? It was pure work.
If I had that, I would never ask for a day in prison. I mean, you would know if that would be your. I mean, basically, where did you
Yeah,
see? She basically sat there. Just think about what happened. She's a convicted. She's sitting there serving 20 years in prison.
yeah.
Just for a second, folks. I need you. I know we're gonna, and we'll stay an extra 5-10 minutes before this starts. Let me just put it on and go into some of it because we started late also. But I want you to think about this for a second. You have a convicted felon serving 20 years in prison for some of the most horrendous crimes out there, and then you have certain things happen. The first time in history, you have the number two guy in the DOJ that also happens to be the accusers lawyers, which happens to be the president of the United States, come visit you. And also, wait a second, that happens to be also
With
butt
immunity.
buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but happens to be butt buddies with your lawyer also. So you have that whole cabal, and basically and all you have to do is just come out there and say, hey, yeah, no, everything was great. I didn't do it. I don't even know why I'm in here.
Mhm.
And all behold, literally within a week, you're transferred. Just think about that. Within a week, what did she give? What possibly? I mean, if this was really about precedent, I mean, just think about how many people could use this now in their own cases to try to get transferred. I mean, like, what did she give? What was the damaging or breaking information? What could possibly? And when they tried to use the excuse that her life was in danger, so let me put it to you this way: I've served time in the BOP. They don't transfer you if your life is in danger. If you're sitting in a maximum security prison, they'll transfer you to a different maximum security prison. They'll transfer you into solitary confinement for your own protection. There's no way, in any way, I don't know anybody that would be transferred to a camp, a VIP, BOP, Federal Bureau of Prisons camp to be because you were threatened, so and that's the excuse that they've given, the world, and that the media accepted, and nobody's challenged, there's no picket, standing outside that prison. And that's another thing, there should be, we should have, and I'm going to bring that up as I start, we got to be more proactive. Like, we can't just let them get away with it. We protest. We should go out there and surround that prison with signs, protests, and make their life, the work, everything in there, like, she shouldn't be there.
Mhm.
Transfer her somewhere else. You know what I'm saying to you? We shouldn't make it that easy for them. We should have, Congress right now, just like the Democrats are trying to get to the bottom, and they're fighting for the Epstein file. Why are we giving up so easy? Why she got transferred? That's part of the cover up.
Mm,
See, this
mm.
is those little things is how they get burnt. This is how people get caught. This is how people go down, not on big things, on little things like that. It's oh,
Well, because there's no other way to explain it other than the way that you're explaining it, which is quid pro quo, right? It's what did you give me?
100%.
What did I give you? There's no other way to explain it. There isn't an excuse that BOP can give that her life was in danger, the DOJ can give that her life was in danger, to your point, because what they don't do is they don't look at hardened criminals that were convicted of for 20 years, a 20-year sentence for abusing thousands of underage women. And oh, my life's been threatened. Oh, sorry, ma'am. We need to send you to basically a prison that is like a work camp for people that didn't really do major crimes, and we're going to put you in with a bunch of moms at a female federal prison that practice macrame and they get a chance to do yoga because their crimes weren't that bad. A lot of those people in that jail, they're doing weekends. You've got someone that was convicted of the most egregious crimes against children in the history of the United States. She goes in and has an interview with Donald Trump's personal assistant, personal lawyer, his people who were best friends with her people. And magically, this tape comes out, which is 5 hours and 48 minutes of pure glossing over everything, softball question after,
Yeah.
and she goes right into fucking Club Fed. There is no other way to look at that other than quid
No.
pro quo.
And
Zero.
let me ask you what, Dean, you listened to, I'll be honest, I didn't even listen to the whole 5 hours. I don't even want, it was so disgusting to it. I understood what it was. It was just a bunch of bullshit, but I didn't want to waste even my time. I'd rather spend it with my kids. But I wanted to ask you a question. You listen, tell me, from everybody I spoke to and asked you, I haven't heard in that, like, excerpt out of that whole 5 hours where he pressures her on any question, like where he turns around and says, Miss Maxwell, but in your testimony where you perjured yourself, where you were tried on trial, where you said this and this, you're saying opposite now. Or, I mean, not even one time. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying to you. It was like, it was a conversation. Oh, you don't remember? Oh, it's okay.
That's
It's
okay. You
okay.
don't have to. Next question. Yeah,
Yeah, next
there was
question.
no pushback. There was no
Yeah,
challenge. There's no
I,
nothing.
and I like the way he asked the question. You might not remember. I understand it's been a while ago. You
Out
might not.
highways. You don't have to answer this question
No,
because
that's it.
it might get past your memory. Don't worry about it if you can't. But did you see anything? And she go, no, no, dude. To your point, that's exactly all 5 hours. We're hand holding through a deposition by Trump's personal assistant, personal lawyer, who happens to be second in command when it comes to law enforcement in the United fucking States of America.
Yeah, no, it's a catastrophe that we won't let go down, and that's why, if thanks to this platform Substack, thanks to each and every one of you out there, our subscribers, our followers, our extension of our voices, thanks to Dean, Zev, Olga, Midas Touch, Aaron, my son, and all, Adam Glassfields, Olivia Troy, I could name them on, to all the
Mary
platforms
Trump,
out
who, by the
there,
way, you were
Mary,
awesome with last week. Just an
Mary,
incredible interview. Yeah, yeah. Miles
thank you,
Taylor
Matt.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, Miles, Mary, and and all of these independent journalists, and then also whistleblowers and truth tellers, because you have a combination here on this platform of people that, like Dean, my son, that are out there bringing you the news and making sure you get it, making sure you can understand it in different ways. Dean brings a little laughter to it, a little levity to make sure, because everything is so diehard. You get into depression. My son brings it in a quick and format way where you're able to get a daily retune. So all
Super
of these,
educational. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, all of these different ways of reporting. I mean, that's, you don't see that nowadays. That's why this platform is so important. That's why your support, your subscriptions really matter, because it allows us to grow this platform, allows us to grow our voices. And for guys like me, me, I'm not a journalist, but yeah, for those of you that know me, I was on this. I was one of them. And I'm doing this not because I'm trying to build a career here on Substack. I'm gonna be here giving you until we get our democracy back, and I'm risking everything dealing with them right now because they're not happy campers, I could tell you.
Mm,
Donald Trump and this crew are not happy campers that there's so much leaking going on that they can't stop it because that's why a lot of the stuff that we're doing because of here and because of you and because of the pressure and we're putting on, we're making them make mistakes. They're doing that's what you saw with even the fact that they had the Alaska charade, what's it called? Trust me when I tell you, this was not some thought out plan that they worked on for months or or to be able to put together this meeting. This was literally done because Vladimir Putin, as I broke it, has found a window of opportunity to be able to put Donald Trump and use that to legitimize himself on the world stage before he went to China and stood there like a king. And
mhm,
he gave Donald Trump what he needed. He said, "You know what? We're gonna at that moment take away from the Epstein files," which he did. They for 1 week straight, we heard nothing else but the theatrics of this meeting that they were going to do in Alaska. But that came to an end, and that's why tomorrow, we're going to be right back at it and be speaking truth to power, making sure holding his feet to the fire. And I really hope and pray that maybe we hear some names, some direction where we could. Push and not allow the Comers, the House oversight committees to be able to cover it up because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to control the narrative. They're not trying to get to the truth. Yes, we have, thank God for Rokana, thank God for Massey that they're coming out and they're going to do this. But think about why they have to do it. They have to do these press conferences because the chairman, James Comer, who heads up the committee, is not doing it in the committee. What they're doing is they're doing it behind closed doors, selective questioning, selective subpoenas, trying to paint the narrative where, it's totally different from what the victims and the survivors say.
mhm. Listen, dude, I can't tell you how much I love doing this with you on Mondays, catching up, laughing at the shit that we need to laugh at, taking seriously the shit that we need to take seriously. And tomorrow is a very serious day for victims. And let's just put a pin in this Substack Live and talk about them real quick. Is tomorrow you're going to see dozens of incredibly brave women that have experienced horrific abuses at the hands of Epstein, Maxwell, possibly Trump, some of Trump's friends, other people, and they're going to detail some of those. And it will shock and outrage you. Even Fox News put out a post this morning, and I couldn't believe it. And they said, hey, what you're going to hear tomorrow is going to shock and outrage people, the entire country. There's no place left to hide when you listen to victims, and if we truly listen to these women tomorrow, and we understand the damage that has been incurred on them, which is really it's tantamount to stealing someone's existence, someone's life, someone's innocence, which is what happened, which is what this whole thing is all about. Is that tomorrow you're going to get an unvarnished view of what these young girls at the time, underage girls at the time, young women went through, so that a certain group of really elite men could have access to sex with underage girls. That's what you're going to hear tomorrow. There is, and Donald Trump is deeply involved in this file. So whatever you hear in terms of distraction, keep your eyes on the puck, as my very good friend Lev likes to say, because he likes to cater to me with hockey references because I'm up here in Canada. Keep your
Canada.
eyes on the puck, Dean. You're going to rag it around the boards. Watch where it goes. Go to where the puck is, and that's what Lev has been screaming from his Substack. Please go and subscribe to Lev's Substack today. Paid subscribers keep him in the game, keep him working, probably 20 hours a day. So if you want to convince Lev the day after Labor Day to keep working for you, the American people, become a paid subscriber. It is very inexpensive. Share his content. He's got a great article that's out today about Donald Trump being left out in the cold at the dictators meeting and everybody laughing at the free world, which will give you context. He's got a great story, and I apologize we didn't get to Ukraine today, but God bless Ukraine and Slava Ukraini. They're striking deep
Героям
into
слава.
Russian territory right now. They are not asking for permission. They are changing the game. We'll hopefully get to that. Don't forget tomorrow, look for Lev here on Substack. He'll be all over the place, as we will. We'll be together bouncing around for a solid 12 hours ahead of the actual press conference of the Epstein victims. And after, we'll kind of break it down and we'll get reaction. So please subscribe. We want you to take part in these chats. We want you to be paid, but we also want you to share and be free. So it doesn't matter how you subscribe. Just continue to join the resistance. Support independent media folks like my friend Lev, who says he's not a journalist. But my God, you're number 2 in world politics, dude. You're pretty close to a journalist now.
I'm learning. Hey, you never know. Maybe a new profession. I love you guys. I wouldn't mind. I tell you honestly, I can't wait to start giving you more opinion, also more because of what I learned and through my life and what I've experienced to be able to share with you guys on a lot of the things that are going on. The only reason I try not to do it right now is because I try to keep my platform to sticking to facts, truth, and power to be able to not give them any opportunity to discredit or to be able, because we're at a war to try to save our democracy. But at the next stage in my life, hey, why not? I
Oh, you're going to
can't.
let it all out, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll let it all out. We'll have some real fun. About
Uncensored story time with Lev Parnas. I want in. I
Yeah,
want in.
trust me, you don't want to miss that once that I mean, because that's yeah, okay.
Okay, good. Well, we'll leave it there for today. It's a nice little cliffhanger. More to come from Lev. Give him a follow. My dear friend, my brother in democracy, brother in arms. God bless you. Even though I don't believe necessarily in God, but God bless you, your God, whoever that God might be. And you go forth and continue to do God's work as you have for the American people and democracy. Love you, pal. Great to see you again
Love,
today.
love you, brother. Have a great day. I'll see if something pops
Ye-
up. Otherwise, I'll see you in a couple of days, brother.
Yeah, well, we'll see you tomorrow, right? We'll touch
Yeah.
base over
Oh, tomorrow.
the whole
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, we'll be
tomorrow
back tomorrow.
we'll be live all day. I'll be with you guys. Absolutely. I'll
Okay,
see you
pal.
tomorrow. Take care,
Talk
man.
to you soon. Bye bye. Lev Parnas, ladies and gentlemen, award-winning author, whistleblower, and just all around mensch. Just a good dude. Hey, you got a turd in your pants yet, folks? Europe's telling hospitals to prepare for war, a wider skirmish. We got the Epstein victims tomorrow, finally getting their day. Finally getting their day. The courage to be able to speak truth to the abuses that these beautiful women have suffered at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and most likely Donald Trump, and hundreds of other men for decades. You're going to hear from those people tomorrow. It's no coincidence that there is a dictator military parade of assholes going on in Tiananmen Square at the exact same time. It's no coincidence that any minute now, Donald Trump, and he might actually be at the stump talking about changing the Department of Defense to the Department of War and moving Space Command from Colorado to Atlanta, might be the big announcement today. It's no coincidence Donald Trump hasn't been seen for a week. It's no coincidence that White House insiders are panicking over something that Lev, myself, and others that have sources involved with the Trump regime, that he is extremely unwell right now. It's no coincidence that J.D. Vance is talking about how no matter what happens with Trump, J.D. Vance thinks he's going to be a really good president of the United States. No coincidence. There are no coincidences in politics. Interesting time. Always follow people you can trust here. I want to thank everybody for spending time. We got about 1,500 people that have chosen to join us for the weekend roundup here with my friend Lev Parnas. And as always, we always try to give back. You give us your time, you give us your attention to be affirmed and affirmed and informed. That's what I was trying to say. And so we're giving back 50% off all subscriptions, whether they be monthly, annual, or founders. Founders, of course, never have to pay again. You get a lifetime subscription to deanblundell.substack.com. You can go and check out some of our latest work, including detailing, which we're going to talk about in the 5-stack with my friend Zev Shalev, coming up at 3 o'clock right here, detailing the attempted assassination, Russia's attempted assassination of the president of the EU over the weekend. and a very high-ranking German military official. They're going for it. They're going to try and take as many people out as they can on their way to militarizing and dictatorializing this globe of ours, this planet of ours. Donald Trump's all in if he can make it past next week. So please go and subscribe, become part of the resistance. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us today. You can get everything we do at deanblundell.substack.com, at Lev Parnas at substack.com. Go and find him there. Zev Shalev and I will be back for the 5-stack, where we'll get into this and a few more details that are really important when it comes to democracy and the defense of it. Here on both sides of the 49th parallel, Canada standing with America, America standing with Canada, MAGA left out in the cold. That's the dream, right? That's why we do this. So let's keep going forward and doing it together. Thank you very much for joining us. Again, deanblundell.substack.com is where you can find us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you at 3 o'clock for the 5-stack, everybody. Bye.